The air bites with the sharp chill of a Monday morning in late fall, the kind that makes your breath puff out in little clouds and your fingers tingle as they clutch something precious. In the heart of Crestwood Heights, a leafy suburb of Raleigh, North Carolina, the polished glass doors of Pinnacle Trust Bank gleam under a pale sun, reflecting a world of wealth and order. Inside, the lobby hums with the quiet rhythm of money changing hands, soft murmurs of customers, the tap of keyboards, the faint rustle of crisp bills. It's a place of power, its marble floors cool and unforgiving, its high ceilings whispering prestige. Into this world steps Amara Ellis, a 15-year-old black girl with a spark in her dark eyes and a tremble in her knees. Her school uniform, a navy blazer, pleated skirt, and scuffed loafers, clings to her like a badge of honor, a symbol of the journey that's brought her here today. In her hands, she holds a $5,000 scholarship check, earned through sleepless nights and relentless grit, a prize that feels heavier than its paperweight, a testament to her brilliance and a ticket to her dreams. Amara's heart races as she crosses the threshold, her sneakers squeaking faintly against the marble, a sound swallowed by the bank's grandeur. She's nervous, yes, but pride swells in her chest, pushing back the butterflies. This is her moment, her first solo bank deposit, a rite of passage she's insisted on facing alone, without her parents' steady hands to guide her. The check, neatly tucked in a folder with her award letter and school ID, is more than money. It's proof she's carving her own path, a step toward the independence she craves. She approaches the teller counter, her pulse a drumbeat in her ears, and offers a shy smile to the young man behind it, Ethan. His name tag reads his face neutral but kind. "Hi, I'd like to deposit this," she says, her voice steady despite the quiver in her fingers as she slides the check across the polished wood. From the corner of the room, a shadow shifts Margaret Langston, the bank manager, a woman in her early 50s with a sleek grey suit and a gaze that could cut glass. Her auburn hair is pinned tight, her presence a blend of elegance and ice, and as her eyes land on Amara, they narrow, sharpening with something unspoken. She steps closer, her heels clicking like a metronome, and peers over Ethan's shoulder. As he lifts the check, $5,000? Margaret's voice rises, crisp and loud enough to turn heads, a note of disbelief threading through it. "For a kid your age, where'd you get this kind of money?" The words sting, a sudden lash across Amara's pride, and heat floods her cheeks. She swallows hard, steadying herself, and meets Margaret's stare. "It's my scholarship," she replies, her tone calm but firm, a quiet strength rising to meet the challenge. "I won it for academics. Here's the letter and my ID." She slides the folder forward, her hands trembling just a touch, proof of her worth laid bare. Ethan takes the documents, his brow furrowing as he holds the check up to the light, squinting like a sleuth hunting for flaws. The seconds stretch, each one a weight on Amara's shoulders, and Margaret hovers, her skepticism a palpable force. "We've had a rash of fake checks lately," she mutters, loud enough for Amara to hear, her voice dripping with disdain as she finally glances at the girl, not at her papers, but at her, sizing her up with a cold, dismissive flick of her eyes. "I'll need to verify this. Everything." Amara's stomach lurches, a wave of anxiety crashing over her pride. This was supposed to be simple a deposit, a triumph, not an interrogation. She fumbles for words, her voice cracking. "I need to call my mom. She's expecting me home soon and my phone's at school." Margaret barely looks at her, waving a manicured hand. "That's not our concern," she snaps, her tone a blade of ice. "You'll wait until we're done." The sting of rejection lands hard, and Amara freezes, rooted to the spot as Margaret turns away, her smug stride a silent verdict. The lobby buzzes on customers shuffling, tellers typing, but to Amara, it's a spotlight, every eye a judge. Whispers ripple through the crowd, some curious, some cutting, and she feels them like pinpricks on her skin. She's left standing alone, a small figure in a vast room, the marble chilling her feet through her thin soles. Humiliation creeps in, a slow burn that threatens to swallow her pride. But her mind stays sharp, honed by years of observation. She notices the deference shown to others, the warm smiles, the quick service, and the cold indifference aimed at her. Her father's voice echoes in her head. Stay composed, Amara, don't let them shake you. But as the minutes drag into an eternity, she can't shake the truth. This isn't about her check. It's about her. Feel the ache of standing alone in Zwe. A room full of strangers, where every glance feels like a judgment and every whisper a wound. In the grand lobby of Pinnacle Trust Bank, Amara Ellis stands in a corner, her 15-year-old frame small against the towering pillars, her navy blazer wrinkled from the tension gripping her shoulders. The marble floor is a cold mirror beneath her, loafers, reflecting the weight of an hour that stretched into a lifetime. She clutches her folder, her scholarship check, her proof tight against her chest, a lifeline in a sea of doubt. The bank pulses with life around her, customers weaving through lines, their voices a low hum. But to Amara, it's a spotlight she can't escape. Her heart thuds, a frantic rhythm of anger and shame, as Margaret Langston's words replay in her mind, "That's not our concern, you'll wait." The sting of dismissal cuts deeper than the chill seeping through her soles, a rejection that's more than procedural, it's personal, visceral, a slap she feels in her bones. From across the room, Margaret's voice drifts, low and conspiratorial, as she leans toward Ethan, the teller who'd first taken her check. "We've got to keep our standards," she says, her tone sharp with disdain, her auburn hair glinting under the lights. "Can't let just anyone waltz in here expecting VIP treatment." The words slice through Amara like a knife, each one a dagger aimed at her pride, her race, her youth. She's not anyone, she's Amara Ellis, scholarship winner, straight A student, a girl who's earned her place, but to Margaret, she's an intruder, a threat to the bank's polished order. Her hands clench into fists, nails digging into her palms as she fights the tears prickling her eyes. She wants to scream, to demand her check back, to storm out with her dignity intact, but her father's lessons hold her steady. Compose yourself, Amara. Don't give them the satisfaction. So she stands silent, her resolve a fragile shield against the growing tide of humiliation. Around her, the bank's rhythm reveals its ugly undercurrent. An elderly white couple in tailored coats sweeps in, greeted by Margaret with a beaming smile and a personal escort to a private booth, warmth Amara's never tasted. A Latino man with a thick accent approaches the counter, paperwork trembling in his hands, only to be waved off by Margaret with a curt, "Sorry, system's slow come. Back later," her voice flat, indifferent. Moments later, a white couple with similar forms steps up, and Margaret's demeanor flips, her smile returns, her tone honeyed. "Of course, let's get you sorted right away, you're in good hands." The contrast burns in Amara's chest, a raw, aching realization. This isn't about her check's legitimacy. It's about who gets to belong here and who doesn't. She's invisible, a shadow in a space that shines for others, her worth dismissed by the color of her skin and the simplicity of her uniform. The whispers grow louder, a chorus of curiosity, and scorn threading through the crowd. "What's she done?" a woman murmurs, her eyes flicking to Amara with pity. "Probably trouble," a man mutters, his voice low but cutting. The judgment stings, each word a brick in the wall closing. Around her, and she feels smaller, her pride crumbling under the weight. Margaret's heels click again, sharp and deliberate, as she instructs a hulking security guard named Carl to keep an eye on her, don't let her move. Carl looms closer, his broad frame a silent threat, his hand resting on Amara's shoulder, with a grip that's firm, unyielding. "Stay put," he grunts, stepping back to block her path, his shadow a cage she can't escape. Her pulse spikes, anger flaring hot and fierce. She's no thief, no troublemaker, but she bites it back, her breath shallow, her mother's voice in her ear. "Stand on your own, Amara, you're enough." Time drags, each tick of the wall clock a hammer on her nerves, the cold seeping deeper into her bones. She's been here too long. Her mum, Dr. Celeste Ellis, will worry soon, expecting her home after this simple errand. She'd left her phone in her locker at Crestwood Prep, a decision that now feels like a trap, leaving her voiceless, stranded. Her eyes dart around, searching for an ally, a lifeline, but the faces blur, none meet her gaze with kindness. She's a ghost in this gleaming world, her scholarship a prize they refuse to honor, her independence a dream they're crushing beneath their polished heels. The humiliation is a weight she can't shake, a bitter taste she swallows with every breath, but beneath it, something stirs, a spark of defiance, a whisper of strength. She's Amara Ellis, and she won't let them erase her, not without a fight she hasn't yet learned to wage. Feel the weight of isolation pressing down, a heavy cloak woven from whispers and cold stares, wrapping tight around a girl who dared to dream big. In the grand lobby of Pinnacle Trust Bank in Raleigh, North Carolina, Amara Ellis stands pinned in a corner, her 15-year-old frame dwarfed by the marble pillars that rise like silent sentinels. The air hums with the steady buzz of privileged customers gliding through lines, their voices a soft murmur of wealth. But to Amara, it's a prison. The polished floor beneath her loafers, a slab of ice chilling her to the bone. Her navy blazer hangs loose, wrinkled from hours of standing, her scholarship check still clutched in its folder against her chest, a fragile shield against the storm of humiliation swirling around her. The bank's rhythm flows on, indifferent, but she feels every eye, every hushed word like a needle pricking her skin, her pride fraying under the relentless scrutiny. Margaret Langston's shadow looms large, her auburn hair catching the light. As she drifts through the room, her heels a sharp staccato beat that echoes in Amara's ears. The manager's smug disdain lingers in the air, her earlier dismissal. "That's not our concern, you'll wait." A wound that festers with every passing minute. Amara's heart thuds, a wild drumbeat of anger and shame, but she holds herself tall, her dark eyes burning with a quiet fire. She's been here 2 long hours, stretching into an eternity, her mother's warm kitchen a distant memory, her phone locked away in her school locker, a lifeline she can't reach. The guard, Carl, stands watch, his broad frame a hulking barrier, his gaze a constant reminder. She's not free to move, not free to speak, a prisoner of their doubt. The lobby pulses with a cruel double standard, a dance of favor Amara can't join. An older white man in a crisp suit strides in, and Margaret sweeps forward, her smile dazzling as she ushers him to a private desk, her voice a velvet purr. "Mr. Grayson, right this way, we'll handle everything for you." Moments later, a calm black woman with a tired face approaches, her paperwork crumpled from nervous hands, and Margaret's warmth vanishes. "Systems down," she snaps, waving her off. "Try again tomorrow." The woman slinks away, defeated, while a white couple steps up next, their forms identical, and Margaret's grin returns. "Oh, let's get this sorted, don't you?" "Worry!" The contrast sears Amara's chest, a bitter truth sinking in. This isn't about her check, her papers, her proof. It's about her. Her skin, her youth, her place in their world, a place they've decided she doesn't belong. Whispers weave through the crowd, a chorus of judgment that tightens around her like a noose. "What's her deal?" a woman hisses, her eyes flicking to Amara with a pity that cuts deeper than scorn. "Looks like trouble," a man mutters, his voice low but piercing, a blade slipped between her ribs. The words pile up, bricks in a wall of shame, and Amara feels herself shrinking, her pride a flickering flame against the cold tide of their stares. She's no thief, no liar. She's Amara Ellis, scholar, dreamer, but here she's nothing. A shadow they've cast aside. Margaret's voice cuts through again, sharp and commanding as she nods to Carl. "Keep her there, make sure she doesn't. Try anything." His hand clamps her shoulder again, a silent order to stay, and her pulse spikes, a surge of rage she swallows hard, her mother's lessons a lifeline. "Stay strong, Amara. Don't let them win." Time crawls, each tick of the clock a hammer on her nerves, the marble a frozen slab beneath her aching feet. She's been here too long. Her mum, Dr. Celeste Ellis, will be pacing by now, her warm voice wondering why her girl isn't home. Amara's phone, left in her locker at Crestwood Prep, feels like a lost limb, her voice trapped in this gleaming cage. Her eyes dart around, seeking an escape, a friend, but the faces blur. None offer solace, none see her pain. The humiliation has a weight she can't shake, a bitter ache that claws at her throat, but beneath it, her mind sharpens, honed by years of watching, learning. She sees the game now, the favoritism, the bias, the rules bent for some and broken for others. Her fists tighten around her folder, her scholarship a lifeline she won't let them steal. A spark of defiance flickering brighter. She's Amara, and she'll endure this even if it breaks her heart to do it. Imagine a girl's world tilting, a quiet corner of a bank becoming the edge of a cliff where truth teeters and falls. Amara Ellis stands rooted in the shadows of Pinnacle Trust Bank, her 15-year-old heart pounding against the cage of her ribs, her navy blazer a crumpled armor against the chill seeping through the marble floor. Hours have bled into a haze of whispers and stares, her scholarship check still gripped tight, a lifeline in a sea of doubt. The lobby hums with its privileged dance customers weaving through, their voices a distant buzz, but to Amara, it's a battlefield. Every glance a salvo, every minute a wound. Her dark eyes burn with unshed tears, her pride battered but unbroken, a fragile thread of strength woven through the humiliation that's held her captive too long. She's a prisoner of Margaret Langston's disdain, the manager's cold dismissal. You'll wait a chain she can't shake. Then a flicker, a shift in the air that pulls her gaze from the clock's relentless march. Margaret drifts across the room, her heels a sharp tattoo, her auburn hair glinting as she leans toward Ethan, muttering low and urgent. "Why is she still here?" she hisses, her voice a venomous whisper that slithers to Amara's ears. "Get rid of her, make it clear she doesn't belong." The words land like a fist, a raw, aching blow to Amara's soul, confirming the fear that's gnawed at her. This isn't about her check, her proof, it's about her. A rejection carved deep by the color of her skin. Her breath catches, a sob she won't let escape. But before she can process the sting, something else catches her eye. A man, tall and imposing, strides in, his tailored suit a banner of power. Margaret pivots, her smile blooming as she greets. Him handing over a manila folder stamped confidential. Amara's pulse quickens, recognition sparking like a flare. She knows that name, Edward Grayson, CEO of Horizon Financial, a rival her mother, Dr. Celeste Ellis, has clashed with in boardrooms and headlines. Celeste runs Pinnacle Trust's parent company, her brilliance a cornerstone of its success, and Grayson's a shark circling for blood. Amara strains to hear, her corner too far for words but close enough for the truth in Margaret's eager nod, Grayson's pleased smirk as he flips through the folder. It's no routine meeting. This is a betrayal. A knife slipped into her mother's empire, and Margaret's the hand wielding it. Her stomach churns, a mix of dread and fury as the pieces snap together. Margaret's not just a bigot, she's a traitor, using her perch to sabotage Celeste's work, and Amara's caught in the crossfire. Her hands tremble, but not from fear. Determination surges, a hot, fierce tide washing over the shame. She's not just a kid with a check anymore, she's a witness to something dark, something that could shatter her family's legacy. Her leather notebook, a constant companion, peeks from her blazer pocket, and she fumbles it open, her pen scratching furiously. Time, names, the folder's label, every detail burned into her memory. She's no bystander now, she's a recorder of truth. Her note's a weapon she doesn't yet know how to wield. Margaret's voice snaps her back, sharp and commanding. "Take her to the back, keep her there till we're done," she orders Carl, her eyes flicking to Amara with a glint of suspicion. The guard's hand clamps her arm, dragging her across the lobby, every eye turning to watch but none stepping in. "I'm not a problem," Amara says, her voice shaking but steady, breaking free of her silence as Carl pulls her along. "I earned that scholarship, I'm here to deposit it, just like anyone else." Margaret doesn't look back, her stride unbroken. But Amara's words ripple through the crowd, a small crack in the wall of their indifference. Carl shoves her into a dim corner near the back, out of sight but not out of mind, his bulk a barrier. "Stay here," he grunts, stepping back to guard her like a prisoner. Her chest heaves, anger and humiliation warring within, but her resolve hardens, a steel core forged in the fire of this day. She's seen too much Margaret's bias, Grayson's greed, and she won't let it bury her. Her notes are her power, her mother's lessons, her strength. Stand tall, Amara. You're enough. She grips her folder tighter, her scholarship a beacon, her heart vowing to turn this pain into something more, a fight she's only beginning to understand. Imagine a storm rolling in, swift and fierce, its thunder a roar that silences the petty hum of a world gone wrong. In the shadowed back corner of Pinnacle Trust Bank in Raleigh, North Carolina, Amara Ellis stands rigid, her 15-year-old frame aching from hours of forced stillness, her navy blazer a crumpled testament to her ordeal. The marble floor bites through. Her loafers, a cold that seeped into her bones, but her dark eyes blaze with a fire that refuses to dim. Her scholarship check, clutched tight in its folder, is a lifeline she won't surrender. Her leather notebook a silent weapon, filled with the truth she's captured: Margaret Langston's betrayal, Edward Grayson's greed, a conspiracy unfolding under the bank's polished veneer. The lobby buzzes on, oblivious, but Amara feels every tick of the clock like a hammer on her heart. Her mother's voice a distant echo. "You're enough, Amara." She's held on, her pride battered but unbroken, waiting for a chance to turn this nightmare into something more. The glass doors swing open, and the air shifts. A presence cuts through the hum like a blade through silk. Dr. Celeste Ellis strides in, her tailored coat flowing, her chestnut hair swept back, her brown eyes sharp. With a mother's instinct and a titan's resolve, she's a force, a financial luminary who commands boardrooms. Her elegance a quiet power that fills the room. Margaret Langston snaps to attention, her smug facade faltering as she hurries forward, her heels clicking a frantic beat. "Miss Ellis," she greets, her voice syrupy with false warmth. "I wasn't expecting you. What can I do for you today?" But Celeste's gaze doesn't linger on her. It sweeps the lobby, landing on Amara alone, isolated, her shoulders squared against the weight of hours. A flash of fury crosses Celeste's face, a storm cloud breaking. But she masks it with a calm that's more terrifying than any shout. "Amara," she calls, her voice soft but piercing, cutting through the murmurs as she strides toward her. "Daughter, are you okay?" Amara nods, her throat tight, fighting the tears that threaten to spill. "I'm fine, Mum," she says, her voice steady despite the tremble in her chest. "But there's something you need to know." She pulls her notebook from her blazer, her fingers shaking as she opens it, and begins to read her words, a quiet torrent, spilling everything she's endured. The suspicious glares over her $5,000 check, Margaret's cold dismissal, the hours of humiliation, and most damning, the hushed exchange between Margaret and Grayson, the confidential folder passed like a traitor's handshake. Her voice wavers but holds, each detail a brick in the wall she's building, her mother's eyes darkening with every word, a fury rising that's both maternal and monumental. Celeste listens, her jaw tightening, her hands clenching at her sides, as Amara's account paints a picture of betrayal, personal and professional. When her daughter finishes, the notebook trembling in her grip, Celeste turns to Margaret, her gaze a blade of ice. "Miss Langston," she says, her voice low and lethal, "you owe my daughter an apology, and you owe me an explanation now." Margaret's composure cracks, her polished mask slipping as she stammers, I don't know what you're talking about. It was just a verification." But Celeste cuts her off, her tone a whip. "I know exactly what you've been doing," she says, stepping closer, her presence a wall Margaret can't climb. "You've harassed my daughter, humiliated her over a scholarship she earned, and I saw you with Grayson handing over confidential files to a competitor. This isn't poor service, this is sabotage, corporate espionage." The lobby falls silent, a collective gasp swallowed by the weight of Celeste's words. Margaret's face pales, her hands fluttering as she grasps for a defense, but nothing comes. Her smugness dissolves into panic, her eyes darting like a trapped animal's. "You're fired, Ms. Langston," Celeste declares, her voice ringing with finality, a verdict that echoes off the marble walls. "Effective immediately." She nods to Carl, the guard who'd caged Amara, his bulk now a tool in her hands. "Escort her out. Now." Carl hesitates, then moves, his grip firm on Margaret's arm as she stumbles, her pride shattering with every step. The crowd parts, whispers erupting, but Celeste's focus shifts back to Amara, her eyes softening. "You're safe now," she says, pulling her close, a mother's warmth cutting through the cold. Amara's heart steadies, the storm within easing as her mother's strength anchors her. She's won, Margaret's gone, her truth heard, but the ache lingers, a reminder of the fight she didn't choose. Celeste turns to the room, her voice commanding. "This bank will be reviewed top to bottom. No one will face what my daughter did today. No one. The promise lands like thunder, vow Amara feels in her soul, her pride flickering back to life. She's not just a kid anymore, she's a spark. And her mother's fire has lit the way. Envision a reckoning unfolding, swift and unyielding, as the echoes of a girl's courage ripple through a world forced to face its shadows. In the aftermath of Margaret Langston's exit from Pinnacle Trust Bank, the lobby stands hushed, the marble floor still ringing with Dr. Celeste Ellis's command. Amara Ellis, 15 and unbroken, clings to her mother's side, her navy blazer a banner of resilience, her scholarship check a prize reclaimed. The sting of hours spent cornered fades beneath Celeste's embrace, but her dark eyes gleam with a new fire, a resolve forged in the crucible of this day. Celeste's presence lingers like a storm's aftermath, her tailored coat a symbol of power, her voice a clarion call that shifted the bank's axis. Customers whisper, tellers fidget, and the air crackles with change as the weight of her word settles. No one will face this again. Celeste wastes no time, her fury a blade honed by years of battling boardroom sharks. She summons the bank's leadership, her office a war room where phones ring and papers fly. I want a full investigation, every file, every interaction, she orders, her tones steel as she paces, her chestnut hair catching the light. Margaret's betrayal handing Grayson that confidential folder is the spark, but Amara's ordeal is the fuel. Security footage rolls in, hours of tape showing Margaret's bias in stark relief. Warm smiles for white elites, cold shrugs for Amara and others like her. Statements pour from staff. Ethan, the teller, admits to unease at Margaret's orders. A janitor recalls her snide remarks about standards. The probe digs deeper, unearthing a trail of favoritism and a damning email chain. Margaret to Grayson, leaking client data, a sabotage Celeste's empire can't forgive. The fallout is swift, a purge that shakes Pinnacle Trust to its core. Margaret's firing is just the start, her desk cleared, her access revoked, her name a pariah whispered in shame. The investigation exposes her plot with Grayson, a scheme to undermine Celeste's company for Horizon Financial's gain, and her pattern of discrimination seals her fate. Legal action looms, espionage charges, lawsuits, but for now she's gone. Her smug reign ended by a girl's defiance and a mother's wrath. Celeste doesn't stop there. She overhauls the bank's leadership, rooting out complicity, her voice a thunderclap at board meetings. We rebuild trust or we lose everything. New policies roll out, equity training, stricter oversight, a seismic shift born from Amara's pain. Ethan, the teller who'd hesitated under Margaret's glare, steps up, his quiet decency earning him a promotion to assistant manager. You didn't deserve that, he tells Amara later, his voice soft with regret, and she nods, a small smile breaking through her guarded wall. The bank buzzes with change posters tout equal service for all, staff retrained to see beyond skin and status. The story spreads local news blares, teens stand sparks bank reform, social media lights up with jark Pinnacle truth, Amara's ordeal a rallying cry. Customers demand accountability, some vowing boycotts until the shift sticks, and Celeste ensures it does, her resolve a steel spine holding the institution upright. Amara feels the tide turn, her humiliation a seed that's bloomed into something vast. She returns to Crestwood Prep, her scholarship check deposited at last, but the bank lingers a scar and a triumph. Celeste pulls her close one night, her voice a warm anchor over dinner. You were so brave, Amara, I'm proud of you. Amara's chest swells, her mother's strength a mirror to her own, a lesson in power wielded right. I just wanted them to see me, she admits, her voice soft but firm, but now I want them to see everyone. Celeste nods, her eyes fierce. They will. We'll make sure of it. Their bond deepens, a pact forged in this fight, a shared vow to lift the voiceless. The bank's transformation ripples outward, complaints drop. Staff morale shifts, a new ethos taking root. Amara's notes, once a desperate scribble, become a cornerstone of the probe. Her courage a catalyst Celeste won't let fade. She's not just a kid now. She's a force, her pain a spark that's lit a fire of change. The lobby, once a cage, feels different, less cold, less cruel, and Amara knows she's part of that shift, her stand a stone in the river redirecting its flow. Her mother's empire stands stronger, Margaret's betrayal a warning to others, but Amara's victory is bigger a step toward a world where no one waits in a corner, unseen. Picture a quiet afternoon in Raleigh, North Carolina, the golden light of late autumn spilling through classroom windows, casting long shadows across rows of desks. Amara Ellis stands at the front of Crestwood Prep's auditorium, her 15-year-old frame steady in her navy blazer, her dark eyes alight with a fire that's grown from a spark to a blaze. The room buzzes with her peers' teens in crisp uniforms, their faces a mix of curiosity and awe as she grips a microphone, her voice trembling at first, then rising clear and strong. She's not just Amara anymore, the girl who walked into Pinnacle Trust Bank with a $5,000 scholarship check and walked out with scars of humiliation. She's a voice, a force, her ordeal a story she's chosen to wield like a torch, illuminating the shadows she once stood in. The bank's marble cage is behind her, but its echoes fuel her words, her pain a bridge to something greater. Months have passed since that crisp Monday, and the world has shifted beneath her feet. Pinnacle Trust Bank bears the marks of her stand, Margaret Langston's firing a thunderclap that still reverberates. Her betrayal with Edward Grayson exposed as a web of sabotage unraveled by Dr. Celeste Ellis's relentless probe. The lobby, once a cold prison, hums with new life. Staff retrained, policies rewritten. A banner proclaiming equity in every transaction, a testament to Amara's fight. Ethan, the teller who'd offered her a flicker of kindness, now manages a team, his quiet nod a silent thank you for her courage. The investigation Celeste spearheaded didn't just oust Margaret, it uprooted a culture of bias, replacing it with a fragile but growing promise of fairness. Local news still whispers her name, Teens Stand Reshapes Bank, and Raleigh feels the ripple, a city nudged toward reckoning by a girl who refused to bow. Amara's voice fills the auditorium, steady and resonant as she shares her tale. I stood there for hours, she says, her words painting the scene, the marbles chill, the whispers, the weight of Margaret's disdain. They didn't see me just a kid who didn't belong, but I knew I did. I'd earned that check, that moment, and they couldn't take it away. Her classmates lean forward, caught in the raw honesty of her pain, the fire of her defiance. It wasn't just about me, she continues, her gaze sweeping the room. It's about everyone who's been pushed aside, ignored, judged. I had my mom to fight for me, but what about the ones who don't? The question hangs, a challenge she's taken up, her mother's lessons a heartbeat in her chest. Stand tall, Amara, make a difference. Celeste's shadow looms large, her strength a pillar Amara's leaned on and now mirrors. That day in the bank, her mother's fury turned humiliation into triumph. Her command, "You're fired, Miss Langston," a gavel that reshaped their world. At home over dinners of curry and quiet talks, Celeste's pride shines through. You were my rock that day, she tells Amara, her voice warm, her brown eyes fierce. You saw what I couldn't, showed me where we need to go. Amara smiles, her resolve deepening, a pact forged in their shared fight. Celeste's overhaul of Pinnacle Trust isn't just business, it's personal. A legacy of equity sparked by her daughter's courage, a vow to ensure no one waits in a corner, unseen. The bank's transformation ripples beyond its walls. Complaints dwindle, trust inches back, and Amara's story spreads, classmates share it, teachers nod. Raleigh's black community finds a voice in her echo. She's invited to speak, not just here but at forums. Her notebook, once a desperate scribble, now a script for change. Financial literacy matters, she tells her peers, her voice firm. So does fairness in banks, in schools, everywhere. We have to demand it. Her words strike chords, her pain a bridge to others, her stand a lesson. One voice can shift a tide. Crestwood Prep buzzes with her influence, students eyeing their own paths with new fire, and Amara feels it a purpose blooming from her scars. One evening, driving home with Celeste, they pass Pinnacle Trust, its glass doors glinting in the dusk. Amara's chest tightens, memories flashing the cuffs of shame, the spark of truth, but no bitterness lingers. I'm glad it happened, she says softly, her voice a thread of steel. It made me see what I can do. Celeste glances over, her smile fierce. "You're unstoppable, Amara. We both are." The bank fades behind them, a battlefield turned beacon, and Amara knows her fight's just begun for her mother's empire, for the unheard, for a world where worth isn't measured by skin or status. Her scholarship, deposited at last, is a seed. Her voice a harvest, a legacy of courage born from a day that tried to break her, but instead built her anew.